I want it to be like 1 minute.
Yep. All right, we're recording here. All right, you guys, we're doing debates today. We're introducing the concept of rebuttals. So I wanted to give you guys an example. This is my good friend Dave Sackers. He lives out in Colorado. He is a doctor of philosophy. He is taught at Princeton. He's a significantly better person than me, and he's the perfect person to engage in a quick debate on one of those most important topics, which is Mr. MP a good person? So I have decided to take the pro that I am a good person. Dave is going to take the negative that I am not a good person. So we'll show you giving an argument for, then he'll go, and then he will do a rebuttal, and I'll do a rebuttal. All right, so I'll get started. I think before we decide if I'm a good person or not, which by the way I am, I think we need to know what a good person is. A good person isn't just someone who doesn't do bad. You can't go to people and say, I'm a good person because I've never committed genocide. Part of it is not doing bad things, but part of it is also doing something good, making the world a better place. When you leave it, everyone is happier that you were there. And I think I qualify on both of those levels. First of all, I don't do bad things. I've never been arrested. I rarely break any serious laws. I may speed every once in a while. I may do small, minor things that are not great. But in general, I'm following the rules as shown by my lack of a criminal record. I also think it's important to know I have no real known enemies that I know. I can't think of anybody who like absolutely hates me, which I think shows that I'm going through my life not doing bad things, not trying to hurt people. I do things well. At the same time, I also do good things. I have a job as a teacher. I try to give back. I have a wife. I have a child on the way. Social services is not breaking down my door to take the child. They are confident that I will raise a decent child. I donate to charities. I volunteer occasionally. I'm also always willing to help a friend. I think a great example of this is about 2 months ago. I was sitting on a Zoom call with some people, and we were talking about one of those topics that comes up. You know, what if someone had to get rid of a dead body? And all of them said that I was one of the people that they would call to help get rid of that dead body, which I think shows that I'm someone who was willing to give back. In this scenario, the person hadn't done anything wrong. It was just a dead body that you had to get rid of. They hadn't committed a crime. But I think it shows that I'm willing to help out. I'm not perfect. I'm always trying to do better, but I think I would qualify as a good person. All right. So now Dave is going to jump on.
Okay, so many of Jack's points I could address here, but instead I'll just first make an independent argument. What is a good person? Well, as Jack said, I study philosophy, and Aristotle in the Nicomachean Ethics says a good person is a person with good character traits who does the right thing at the right time for the right reasons. So you don't just do the right thing, you do it for the right reasons. Also, a good person is practically wise. So we can consider this definition in each part. Does Jack do the right thing? As Jack says, yes, he does do the right thing often. What we have to wonder is if he does it for the right reasons. So he may be doing the right thing, but he could be doing it because he serves his own interests, for instance. So Jack thinks being a teacher is a good thing, but what if Jack is only a teacher because he wants summers off? Then he's doing the right thing, but not for the right reasons. Jack also has worked in banking, and we can wonder if this was mere way to make money instead of something he was really interested in. And it's true, Jack does help people all the time, but this could be just because he wants them to help him in the future. So again, it could be for completely self-interested reasons. So doing the right thing isn't enough. You have to have the right reasons. Secondly, we can ask, does Jack have good character traits? Jack does have some good character traits, courage perhaps, but as Kant famously observed, a good character has to be guided by good intention. So just because someone is, let's say, brave, that isn't necessarily a good thing because you have to be brave to, for example, rob a bank. So you still have to have good intentions. Does Jack have good intentions? It's unclear. Finally, is Jack practically wise? This is the most important trait of a good person, according to Aristotle. And I would say that many people who know Jack do not regard him as practically wise. For instance, one of Jack's goals is to eat hundreds of Tostinos in one sitting. Uh, I've never, I don't think, seen anyone ask Jack for life advice. And finally, Jack has shown poor decision making in many instances of his life. And I'm sure you guys have seen some of that in action. I'll just end my argument right there.
All right. So now we've each given our thing. You'll notice that Dave did two things that are big. First of all, he brought in some quotes, some expert opinions. He also didn't attack my arguments yet. That comes next in the rebuttal. In this one, you're just each making your argument. So Dave and I will now take about 30 seconds and think through our rebuttals, and Dave will go first.
Okay, so luckily, Jack sent me some of his main points. Now, I think one of Jack's main points that he's not a bad person is that he's never gone to jail or been arrested. But remember that you're only arrested when you're caught doing bad things. So notice that Jack has not denied doing bad things. He's merely denied being caught. So I think that's a very important distinction. Secondly, Jack says he has no real enemies that he knows of. I'm sure Jack has several enemies. I'm actually quite confident of that. So, I mean, just because you don't know about it doesn't mean people don't like you. That's an important thing. People could secretly hate you. Probably that's a condition all of us live in, whether or not we know it. And then finally, I don't know that having a wife and a child counts as doing a good thing. Seems like when we get married and have kids, it's to promote our own interests. And so we just have to think, are we really just doing this to make ourselves happy? So having a kid, yeah, hopefully that kid's going to be happy, but it's hard to predict. So I'll just end my rebuttal right there.
All right, so now it's time for my rebuttal. And I also had 4 points. The first one is Dave claims that I only did teaching to have summers off. And I'll say that that is bogus since I teach at the Yeshiva of Minneapolis, which has the shortest summer vacation of all time. It's only 2 months. I also have to work on all kinds of random days like New Year's Eve and things like that. So I think it's fairly clear that I got into teaching for other reasons, most likely to manipulate young minds rather than to take time off. I will say he has a solid point with banking, in which he says that I only did it for the money, which is true. I absolutely 100% only did it for the money. But I also am in the process of quitting it and am currently working 2 jobs so that I'll be able to quit it. So, I think that there are people who do bad things early in life. And I wouldn't say that I've never done bad things early in life. In fact, much of my early life is full of bad things. But I have improved and become a better person, which is the key. And then final points, pizza rolls. First of all, I do that on occasion. I do eat hundreds of pizza rolls. But I don't think I've ever claimed that makes me a good person. I think we have to give in to the demons inside us every once in a while, so that we don't become entirely evil. There's a great quote I've always liked. It says that most people are not good people every day, all day long. I think that applies to me, but I try my best. And I think it's very, very the most clear when we think about Dave's concept of me acting in my own self-interest. I think anybody who looks at my life would realize that at most times I'm acting counter to my own self-interests, often as if I'm trying to do that. So I think I would say that I am a good person, although flawed. All right, so that's the end of a rebuttal. You're attacking the other persons. We could go back and forth multiple rounds on this. We won't do that for this debate, but we will in the future. Dave, thank you for coming on. Do you have anything to say as a final thought for students studying debate?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think I just agree with Jack's quote that to be good, you have to try to be good all the time. That doesn't mean you are actually good. So I think that's also important. Find common ground when possible.
Dave and I have spent decades not finding common ground. All right, have a good one. Thanks, Dave.
See ya.